my name is Ashley. Welcome to my tutorial. I am going to be showing you how to make an Owala cover. So for this tutorial, you will need a relatively small amount of yarn. I used one Crafter Secret from Hobby Lobby to make this sleeve or cozy for an Owala. That sleeve took about 95 yards, 85 meters, or 57 grams, or 2 ounces. Again, that's one Crafter Secret cotton. There was still a little bit left, but it took up almost the whole thing. I also used a 5mm hook. That's also a US size H or 8. This fits a standard 12-ounce Owala, I believe. I'll correct that if I'm wrong. But essentially, I'm going to be showing you how to make up the base and then about what you want your diameter length to be and height to be to fit a normal Owala water bottle. So to start off, you are going to need to know how to do double crochets, single crochets, slip stitches, and chains. To start off, we are going to do a slip stitch knot. And the way that I make these is I wrap it around into a loop. I hold the loop in between my thumb and my index finger. The long end that is attached to the ball goes on top. The short end that has the loose end goes underneath. So you create that loop, put your thumb on it to hold it. Then I take my index finger through the loop. I pick up the long strand and then I pull it through. You could also do this with a crochet hook, but I do it with my finger. And then you pull it tight. To begin, I always chain 2. This is basically me making a magic circle without the magic circle. So I chain 2 and then I go into the first loop, just the top, and I do a stitch. This creates a tiny little circle. There is a circle in there. Boop, right there. And this is instead of a magic circle. So if you want to make a magic circle, make a magic circle. Now that I have my loop, I am going to double crochet 8 into my circle. And to double crochet, you wrap your yarn around, you go into your loop, you wrap your yarn around again, go back through your loop. So now you have 3 strands on your hook. You wrap around again, so you have 4. You go through the first 2, wrap around again, and go through the bottom 2. And that is 1 double crochet. We're going to be doing 8. All right, now that we have 8 double crochets into our circle, we are going to be doing a slip stitch to connect the first with our last. A slip stitch means you go into your stitch, you wrap the yarn around, you go back through your stitch, and then you go through your loop. So you only go straight through. You wrap around once and then you go all the way through. You don't do any additional wrapping around. Okay, we've joined our circle. This is the very beginning of our base. We are going to chain 2 and then do 1 double crochet into the same stitch that we have our chain 2. Then we're going to do 2 double crochets into every other stitch. When you get done with this round, you should have 16 double crochets. All right, now that we have 16 stitches, we are once again going to slip stitch into that chain 2 to connect our circle. We're going to chain 2 again. And for one more row, we are going to do double crochets. The first stitch, we do 1 double crochet. So we have our chain 2 and our double crochet. That counts as 2. Then for each of the next stitches, we're going to do 2 double crochets. So at the end of this round, you should have 32 double crochets. All right, now that you've finished and you have 32, we're going to connect our circle together. Going into the chain 2, we're going to slip stitch 1. So now we have 32 all in a circle. Now, this should be measuring just around 3 inches, a little bit shorter. You might be at 7/8 of your last inch. This is the base for your Owala, and a standard Owala should fit into this base. After this, you are just going to go into each stitch and do a single crochet. This is going into your stitch, wrapping around, coming out of your stitch, wrapping around, going through both of your loops. And you're going to go around and then just keep going around. You're not going to stop going around until you have reached almost 8 inches. This will be the height of your Owala, and you can really make this any height you want. The reason I made mine this tall is because my coworker doesn't want his Owala to make a clanging noise when it tips over. So I made it long enough so that hopefully, no matter how much it tips, it doesn't make a banging noise unless he really just drops it on its lid. So that is my Owala tutorial. Again, after this point, you're just going to be single crocheting 32 stitches around and around. You can flip your work if you want to. I did not. You can put a marker in your first stitch of the circle and come back to it each round and do a slip stitch and then chain one and go on to the next round like that. You can make it as fancy or as simple as you'd like. I chose to just make mine very, very simple. But this pattern can be changed in many, many different ways. You can do triple crochets or double crochets or half double crochets, just as long as you're keeping that 32 stitch count. So your base remains the same, but the way you work this up doesn't necessarily matter as long as you end at about that 8 inches. Thank you for watching. Again, my name is Ashley. I am over here at Frogging and Company, and I'm so glad that you stopped by.